What's up, sports fans, and welcome to the Sports Opinions Podcast, weekly New York sports update. I'm your host, as always, Alex Cuesta. Find me on Twitter at _Cuesta30, and of course, find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30. And if you're listening here, you're listening via YouTube, go ahead and click the subscribe button so you can get all the great sports opinion content. This week, I'm bringing you the updates for the New York sports major teams from the week of April 18th to April 24th. But first, I need to give a quick shout out to my boy Craig Leppert. This week is Porphyria Awareness Week, and that is a wide spectrum of a condition that people suffer. Specifically, my boy Craig Leppert, he's been had the condition EPP for a while now, and he started a Instagram page called Shadow Jumpers. You can go there on Instagram. It's at shadowjumpers_, and it's just a great page talking about all the people that have the porphyria condition, specifically to EPP. If you don't know what EPP is, it's major light sensitivity. Not even just light, it's sensitivity to the sun specifically. You're basically allergic to the sun. I played football with Craig. I've known Craig for a long time. And what he went through just to play sports was unbelievable. He would put on Under Armour in 95-degree days in summer practices, stand under a tent, have to go home and ice bath all day, and would have sores that you could just see coming through just to play the sport he loved and live a normal life. And Craig is a great success story. Went to college in Syracuse. He's been in Hollywood, LA for a while now, trying to pursue the dream of being in film and creating films specifically, not being in them, but creating them. So he's a real shining beacon to that people with EPP, people with the sun sensitivity can lead a normal life, and he created Shadow Jumpers to raise that awareness and to highlight more people like him who are just leading normal lives, who are doing the best they can through this difficult condition. So shout out to Craig again. Go find Craig at Instagram. He's at Craig Leppert. Leppert is spelled Leppert. And find the Instagram page, Shadow Jumpers, at shadowjumpers_. It's a great page. Feel good stories left and right. Definitely go give it a check out. And I want to have Craig on some point on the Sports Opinions Podcast proper. So we're going to work on that. Moving on to New York sports. Biggest news probably in New York sports media is the man, the sports pope, Mike Francesa, has announced he wants to return to the Fan, and they've announced he is back. He is going to fill the 3 to 7 slot, and it's going to slide the afternoon drive down where Evan and Joe and the afternoon drive, which is Craig Carlin, Maggie Gray, and Bart Scott, they're going to split up the 10 to 3 slot. So they're going to split that in half. So Mike Francesa is returning to the Fan. All Mike Francesa fans can rejoice. We can go back to him rapid fire taking callers, berating them, not listening to their points, not caring about their points, but getting the most exclusive interviews and, most importantly, continuing to beat Michael Kay in ratings, because that's really all that matters in life. Speaking of Michael Kay, we're going to go to Major League Baseball. We're going to talk first about the New York Yankees, who are finally playing like the Yankees that we thought we were going to see. Had a really good week this week. They played 6 games, won 5, lost 1. They're now up to 13-9 for their record, and as I speak now, they are currently winning in their game, so hopefully that adds another win, as long as the bullpen doesn't blow it, but they've been playing much better as of late. We got two good starts from CeCe. The first one wasn't amazing, 4.1 innings pitched, but he was coming back from an injury. Players have been on a tear. Didi Gregorius and Miguel Andujar have just been tearing it up this past week. Didi Gregorius possibly, arguably the best player in baseball playing currently. Not talent-wise, but just in terms of play. The dude is unbelievable right now. CeCe gave a great start last night. 6.0 innings pitched, only 2 hits, 4 Ks, no earned runs in a big win. Giancarlo Stanton has been breaking out of his funk. He's hitting. Aaron Judge is continuing to have a very good year, not just hitting home runs, hitting everywhere. And Gary Sanchez has found his stride. So the big 3 that everyone is expecting to do good for the Yankees is finally starting to do it. Real big news, Gleyber Torres Big prospect. Everyone wanted to see him. Finally called up. Got his first RBI this week. Congrats to Glaber. Hoping to see a lot from him. And the Yankees signed first baseman Adam Lind to a minor league deal. He's had MLB experience. He's hit a lot of home runs in his time in the MLB. He's a guy that can maybe be an answer at first base. But if anyone's watching the way Tyler Austin has been playing, we might not need him. So let's see what we got here. And also in the news for the Yankees, Diamondbacks pitcher Corbin, apparently he's been gushing about the Yankees and he's an impending free agent, so that could be a big free agent acquisition. The Yanks, instead of Manny Machado, instead of Bryce Harper, they might be going after Corbin, who has a great arm. We'll see. Upcoming this week, the Yankees will play 2 games against the Twins, 3 games against the Angels, and 2 more games against the Astros. The Astros is big. It's an American League championship game rematch, or championship series rematch. So let's see what the Yankees, that's a big measuring stick for them when they get there. Moving on to the Mets, who have cooled down a bit but are still playing good baseball. They were 3-2 on the week in their 5 games. They're now up to 15-6. Big problem so far has been Matt Harvey, but we're going to talk about him in a little bit. Steven Matz also has struggled, hasn't given a great start, so they have questions there. But we finally got to see Jacob deGrom have a breakout. Syndergaard hasn't been pitching great, but he's had good run support. We saw deGrom break out. Great pitching game against the Braves. Went 7 innings, 10 Ks, 2 base on balls, no earned runs. That's exactly what we expect out of him. And he's looking to become the ace and take over for Syndergaard. They had a postponed game in there against the Braves. But let's talk about the way certain guys have been playing. Cespedes has been hitting the tar off the ball. The guy has just been absolutely fantastic, the star that the Mets need. As Drupal Cabrera, will he slow down? Who knows? At this point, the guy is just doing everything right. At this point in the week, he has 12 RBIs, which is good for the start of the season, and he's just hitting. He's doing things in important spots. So really big. The Mets, they're not as hot as they were. They're not record-setting right now, but as long as they keep on playing 3-2 ball, maybe 500 ball the rest of the year, they're going to sit there and they're going to have a really good record and a really good shot at the wild card. So the Mets are in a good spot. I spoke about Matt Harvey. His struggles as a starting pitcher have been noted. Manager Mickey Callaway made the decision. Matt Harvey went to the bullpen. He was been really heated about it, but it could be a good thing for him. Just coming out, pitching a few innings out of the bullpen every now and then, just being able to rear back, fire it, get his confidence back up that he could throw the ball hard again, might be good for him. So as angry as Harvey is, I think it's a great move and it's a smart move for the Mets. With the way Sonny Gray has been struggling for the Yankees, Aaron Boone may want to consider doing that for Sonny Gray. Upcoming for the Mets, they have 2 games against the Cardinals left in their series that they're currently playing. They have 3 against the Padres, and then they start a series. They have 1 game in the upcoming week against the Braves. So let's see what the Mets can do. Hopefully they can continue to play some winning ball. Rooting for them here. Moving on to Major League Soccer. We've shuffled around some of the teams a bit because I want to keep it up to the top, to the teams who are currently playing. I don't want to let teams that are currently playing fall to the bottom because that's unfair to them. So we're going to talk soccer, Major League Soccer. Start off with the Red Bulls. They lost their only game of the week to the Chicago Fire in a 1-2 decision. Bradley White Phillips had another goal. It's his 5th on the year. He's just a goal scorer. That's what the guy does. News coming from the Red Bulls camp. They signed midfielder Sean Davis to a new contract, 3 years with an option on the 4th year. He was a player that was coveted by a few teams, and the Red Bulls, he's young. The Red Bulls just want to make sure that they locked him up. So they at least have him for 3 more years. Obviously they can let him out on loan. They can do a bunch of things. But as of now, 3 years sticking with the Red Bulls. Coming up this Saturday, they play the LA Galaxy, which before the existence of NYCFC and LAFC was a pretty big deal, the New York-LA rivalry. Right now it's simmered down a little bit because now we're worried about the derbies between NYCFC and the Red Bulls and also LA Galaxy and LAFC. So the derbies have really taken center light. But this is a former rivalry, which would be nice to see heat up again. Hopefully the Red Bulls can get a win. Speaking of NYCFC, they still sit up top of the table with 7 points. But this week they ended up losing their game against the Portland Timbers. 0-3. Pretty embarrassing, pretty crappy loss. Upcoming this week on Sunday, they play FC Dallas, and hopefully they can lock up a win and get some more points. News for them, they finally have a place that they call their home. If anyone follows NYCFC, they've been using Yankee Stadium to play their home game. They're still trying to find a stadium to a spot to build their stadium and call their own, but they opened up a state-of-the-art brand new training facility that is theirs. The NYCFC players now have somewhere that they can go to that's actually their home hub and be comfortable around, let their hair down, bring their families in, have some fun. It's their home. NYCFC has something that's, it's theirs. They got their foothold in, and it's pretty cool now that they finally have an actual base. News that might disappoint some NYCFC fans. Their manager, Patrick Vieira, is linked to become the new Arsenal manager. There's been talks. He denies that there's been any contract talks, but he's being linked to being the new Arsenal manager. So let's keep on the lookout for that. NYCFC could take a pretty big hit if they lose a manager that has brought them so much success so far. Moving on to the NHL. In a disappointment, the Devils got eliminated by the Tampa Bay Lightning. They lost the series 4-1. Tampa Bay is a really good team, so it's not surprising. The Devils are very young. They have a lot to improve. But, it was a good showing. Taylor Hall is a finalist for the Hart Trophy, and I think he should be a favorite, especially for what he did later in the year. He put the team on his back. He had that ridiculous scoring streak that he had going on. So he's definitely in the running there. And the Devils they're in a mode where they're hungry. They weren't satisfied. They're not a satisfied team. They want to come back. They want to build on what they've had, and they don't want to rest on their laurels. So we're going to look to see what the Devils are going to do in the offseason after the Stanley Cup playoffs, but you can bet that they're not just going to sit around on their hands and hope that this young talent continues to develop. They're going to make some moves, and they're going to make this team better. So I'm excited to see what the Devils do in the future. On to the Rangers. The Rangers, a big talk is Erik Karlsson of the Senators has been linked to the Rangers as a potential acquisition. He's a free agent this offseason. He's a good player. I was reading some stuff. I was looking on some websites. A lot of people are saying that it's a recipe for disaster. That the Rangers should stay away from Karlsson. The guy's a good player, but there might be true in a time of a rebuild. What would you want a guy Karlsson's a very good player, so why would you want a guy who could potentially be a star that could derail any chance at a rebuild? Unless you're looking to bring stars in right away and not build from the ground up. If they grab Karlsson, we're going to see the direction the Rangers want to go. It's going to mean that they're going to want to attract other big-time free agents, and they're basically going to do what they just did where they were trying to build through bringing in guys from free agency, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the Rangers just need to figure out which way they want to go. Do they want to do a real rebuild with young players, or do they want to bring in older talent and try and win that way? Both ways have been successful in the past, but we'll see if they can continue to be. Also, a storyline that came out is the Rangers actually offered Henrik Lundqvist an out this year. When it was official that the rebuild was going to occur, they were trading off a lot of their major assets. They told Henrik Lundqvist they could put him in a good spot where he could potentially, go for a championship. And King Henry is going to add to his lore with this one because he denied it. He wanted to stay in. He wanted to see it for the long haul. So that's great for fans to hear that. Moving on to the Islanders, Matt Barzal's a finalist for the Calder Memorial Trophy, which is good for them in a season that was disappointing. And also, they're linked to KHL goalie Emil Garapov. So that's two goalies now that they've been linked to. So we'll see where they want to go with that. They need to find themselves a goalie. And also, they're still in an executive search to run the hockey operations for the team. Moving on to the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres have signed forward Victor Olofsson to an entry-level contract. He was one of their guys they drafted. So Sabres fans have something to be excited about to see if this young kid can move up the lines and work well with the team. And Ryan O'Reilly is a finalist for the Lady Byng Trophy. So that's big news. Going on to the NBA, talking about the New York Knicks. Mike Budenholzer has announced basically that he wants to be the Knicks head coach, and it was just breaking news on my phone via ESPN that the Hawks and Mike Budenholzer mutually part ways. Fishy? Coincidence? Who knows? But there's a lot of other people that have been interviewing, including Jerry Stackhouse has interviewed for the head coaching position of the Knicks, and also I talked about David Fisdale. They both interviewed. Apparently they both did very well, but this just goes to show all these people that want to be the Knicks head coach just tells you how coveted this job is. Even though that the franchise has kind of been in a little bit of a spiral, they've been a little old, the whole entire Melo thing, and now whether or not Porzingis is going to come back healthy doesn't seem to matter. People want to coach in New York, so it's a really good position. The Knicks have to make the right decision here. They made the wrong decision bringing Phil Jackson in as basketball, the chief basketball operator. But they need to make the right decision here. They can't get this one wrong because with all the guys that are hungry to be head coaches, you have some of the best out there that want to come. Make the right decision, pick up your franchise, and give the Knicks fans something to be happy about. Moving on to the Brooklyn Nets side, they made some splashes in their coaching and their staff. No, Kenny Atkinson wasn't released. He's still the head coach. Relax. But they brought in two former players. Pablo Prigioni has joined Kenny Atkinson's staff officially as an assistant coach, and Tiago Splitter was hired as a pro scout. Two of these guys both had high success. Obviously, Tiago Splitter is a championship player. Prigioni was a very smart player when he played. This is a good move for the Nets. It shows more of that Spurs East mentality that they're really going for, bringing in some foreign guys. Spurs have been known to bring in a lot of their foreign guys and have success. It seems that's what the Nets are looking to do with grabbing these two guys who are foreign players but had success in the NBA. And bringing in Tiago Splitter as a scout just says what you need to know. They're probably looking, again, to do more of a Spurs-type thing. Sean Marks was a Spurs guy. And we'll see exactly where they go with this. But I really like the signings. I read some stuff saying that people were saying the Knicks should grab Prigioni and bring him on there. They didn't. The Nets got him. He ended up in Brooklyn. So we'll see what those two guys do for the Nets as the Nets continue this rebuild. But it seems like they're just doing everything right. Every move that they make isn't the same old stupid Nets. It's not the Billy King Nets. This isn't your Nets of old. This is Sean Marks Nets. This is Kenny Atkinson Nets. This is stability. This is proper rebuild. This is young talent. This is smart coaches. So let's see what goes on here. Fingers crossed as a Nets fan that these two guys make a difference, that Splitter is a good enough scout that he can get some talent, and the Nets can continue to stride. And I want to see, 30 wins was a nice mark this year. We got to go for 40 wins, almost 500, and competing for playoffs next year. It's got to be the next logical jump for the Nets. Moving on to the NFL, the draft is tomorrow, and that's so exciting. This draft seems to be really, big time. Right now, the Giants, New York Football Giants, everything you hear is that it's almost a definite that the Giants are not going to trade and they're going to grab Saquon Barkley at number 2. While Giants fans, I know you're all happy. Saquon Barkley is probably bar none the most talented guy in the draft, really a surefire guy. I hence back to Rondane again, but let's just say he's not Rondane. Let's say you guys get an Adrian Peterson type of player where he's just a generational running back that can run the doors off, do great things. Awesome. You couple him with Odell Beckham, exciting. Eli Manning has a year, great. Only thing that I need to ask is, what did Adrian Peterson win? Great running backs are a thing that aren't as much of a workhorse. Yeah, we've seen some great running backs that have won some things, but the workhorse running back isn't as popular as it used to be. Hence, a la the New England Patriots. When have the New England Patriots had a workhorse running back over their past few years? And they've been super successful. Platoon running backs are the way to go right now. So a guy that's going to demand the ball 20 to 25 times a game minimum in Saquon Barkley is going to take away throws from Odell Beckham. It's going to take away throws from whoever else you go and make the number 2, whether it be Sterling Shepard. It's going to take away throws from guys. And you guys fans have to be okay with that. Saquon Barkley's exciting. I think the Giants are missing out on building their future unless they really believe in Davis Webb, unless Pat Shurmur has seen something in Davis Webb that he really likes. they're missing out on an opportunity for their future and not drafting one of these quarterbacks. This also tells me the Giants really don't like any of these quarterbacks, which the Giants being a very good organization as they are, is that a telltale sign for the rest of the teams to stay away? Who knows? Another news, Damon Harrison, missing minicamp right now. Same as Eric Flowers, kind of not really though, because Pat Shurmur says that there's no issue with this one. He talked to Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur didn't expand on why he wasn't there, but he says he knows the situation. He's okay with it. Other news out of Giants camp, Olivia Vernon is switching positions, but only because there's a scheme change. He's become an outside linebacker with the new system. Nothing changes though. He's still a pass rusher first. Hopefully he's healthy and on the field because that'll be a big help for the Giants defense that needs pass rushers because historically when they have good pass rushers, lots of good things happen. Going on to the Jets, the schedules were released this past week, and Jets are going to start the season on Monday Night Football against the Detroit Lions. Undeserving? Probably. Will they be ready? Who the hell knows? But it's exciting as a Jets fan that we're going to get to see some Monday Night Football. People were kind of meh. Lions and Jets. What a crappy Monday Night Football game. Probably going to be a pretty crappy game. Just exciting as a Jets fan to see it. New news coming in for the draft. Again, tomorrow, Jets number 3, Giants are number 2. Browns are now linked to the Jets' favorite quarterback this whole time, Baker Mayfield. And the rumor is if Mayfield's taken by the Browns, the Jets might take Sam Darnold at number 3. I don't like that. I'm not a Sam Darnold guy. I know people say, turnovers in college aren't a huge deal. They're a big deal to me when you're playing at USC, which is a top program with some top recruits, great receivers, normally a pretty decent line, and playing in a Pac-12 that was not as powerhouse as it once was. I'm concerned with Darnold. I'm not a fan. If Mayfield's gone and Jared Allen or Rosen are still there, I would pick them ahead of Darnold. I guess that's a reason why I'm not a scout, because everyone has Darnold ahead of all 3 of those other guys. But that's just me. So that's the rumor right now. I personally think this might be the Browns dangling that to see if someone's going to give them a fool's ransom to come up to that number 1, which isn't a bad idea by the Browns. If you can sit there and get, I don't know, if the Jets are crazy enough to trade at a number 3 when they already traded to get into number 3. Remember, they traded their number 6 and 3 future and their second-round pick and the other 2 more second-round picks. So they mortgaged part of their future. If they're willing, if they like Mayfield that much, if they're willing to jump up to number 1, give up this number 3 and probably some more number 1s in the future, that would be something that the Browns would have to listen to. And if you drop back to 3, you still can get a good quarterback. So who knows? There's a lot going on there, but we'll see what happens. Other news, Teddy Bridgewater is not guaranteed a roster spot. Spoken by Mike McCagnon. He said he needs to see more. He needs to see Bridgewater healthy. If Bridgewater's not healthy, they gave him a contract, $500,000. An NFL team will eat that. So if he's not healthy, he's not on the roster. So a little bit of pressure on Bridgewater. He was kind of meh about his knee when asked about it. He needs to get more confident. He needs to show stuff in minicamp or whenever he's ready to move. He needs to show that Teddy Bridgewater can go back to being Teddy Bridgewater. More on McCagnon. He said he wants to expand the use of analytics. He said that they used it, but with the Eagles' success in using it, that it's noted that they used it, every team is probably going to try and expand on it. I really don't think this is too much news, but McCagnon came out and said it. Also, other news, Jets canceled all non-quarterback pre-draft meetings, which means they're all in at number 3 and a quarterback. Who it's going to be, still a big question mark, but we're getting a quarterback in New York. Whether it's from the Giants, the Jets, both of them, we're going to have at least one new quarterback in New York. Hopefully it's a next 10, 15-year guy that the Jets can have that can lead the franchise to success. Moving on to the Buffalo Bills. We haven't forgotten about you, Buffalo. We talked about the Sabres. We're going to close out with the Bills. A lot of mock drafts right now have the Bills trading up to draft Rosen, who has fallen to them. The highest I saw was them getting to 5. I saw the Giants and them aren't going to do the number 2 trade. But my thing is, if the Browns are dangling out Mayfield, if the Bills covet Mayfield, who knows if they're not going to try and jump to that number 1 to snag him. Don't know if the Browns will want to drop back that far, but they still have the number 4 pick, so who knows where they would be willing to go out of number 1. So I've seen them go up to 5. That's the highest I've seen them in the mock drafts right now. And it's to draft a falling Rosen, which means my Jets didn't grab him, which means Giants didn't take him. And obviously the Browns didn't, so who knows. Also out of news, Bills GM said they're not discussing a new contract for Kelvin Benjamin. It's his contract year. He came in mid-season. He only played 6 out of the last 8 games. He missed 2 to injury, and their focus is on a quarterback. So they're not going to talk Kelvin Benjamin. I think this is kind of a prove-it year. And I know guys in the NFL are uncomfortable when they're playing on contract years without an extension. But Kelvin Benjamin has been disappointing since coming out of college. Even when he had one big year in Carolina. Besides that, he hasn't been great. He's a big body. He has a lot of talent. He's a red zone threat. But I don't blame the Bills for making him show or prove it. So really don't blame them at all. Good news for Buffalo Bills fans and fans of New York football and football in general. Legend in Buffalo, legendary quarterback, Jim Kelly. If you follow sports, if you follow football, if you follow the Bills, you know about his issues with cancer. He's been battling it for years now. He just had surgery to remove cancer from his jaw. He's returned to Buffalo. Everything apparently went well. Hopefully it's the last time the guy has to go through this. He's just been such a fighter. Jim Kelly, hopefully you get well soon, the surgery, and this is all over for you and you can stop battling all this stuff. So that was the Sports Opinions Weekly New York Sports Update for the week of April 18th to April 24th. Again, you can find me, Alex Quester, on Twitter at @A_Quester30. You can find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30. And if you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Pretty sure you'll enjoy what you hear. And once again, thanks for listening. Have a good one.